Mine.
Greg.
I want to hear some stories.
What's your topic? Yeah, I never get to say it. Can I
Fine,
say
go ahead and say it.
Greg. What's your topic?
Thank you, Nick. It's nice somebody to ask me finally. This week I want to talk about, I was thinking about this in the bathroom today. I walked into the bathroom and I do the thing where I wash my hands before I'll touch my unit.
Okay.
When I've been shaking hands or walking around touching people. It's more of at cons. I was thinking about it today though. I did the same thing. But when I'm at a convention, I don't get sick at conventions anymore because I know to wash my hands, never touch your eyes, never eat food, all these other things.
Yeah.
But this got me down. It reminded me of when I was a kid and I was kind of OCD. And right there is what I want to talk about. When I self-diagnose myself as kind of OCD, which of course is an insult to anyone really suffering with OCD. Yeah. But I was like, as a kid, I was like, I'm kind of OCD.
How did you do it when you were a kid when there's no internet?
Well, no, because you know what, I mean, you knew what obsessive-compulsive disorder is. And you know,
what,
everyone watched Double Dare and went like,
thank you.
But what would you obsess that it was? Because you didn't know so you see like a rash on your arm.
No. This wasn't. I'm sorry. I wasn't worried about being sick when I was a kid and wash my hands. When I was a kid, the problem was I couldn't sleep at night because I'd be afraid the garage door was open and someone was going to steal our stuff. So I'd wake up. I wouldn't sleep. So I'd try to put it on my head. You roll over. You can't do it. I'd get up. I'd go downstairs. I'd unlock the door to the garage, look in, see that it was there, shut it, lock the door, go back up, and then I'd be like, did I leave the light on in the garage? Is that going to burn the house down? I'd go back downstairs, unlock the door, look in there. I go back upstairs. Did I lock the door? And I go back down. I jiggle the handle. I'm like, did I just unlock? It's like this would go on all night long.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, I'm kind of OCD. But then you get over it. You're just a dumb kid, probably.
Yeah, you kind of grow out of it and just go like, that's crazy talk.
Yeah.
Though to be fair, like some mornings I forget if I have closed my garage doors. I'm backing my car out.
Right.
And then have to turn around and go look. So I bought a security camera.
Nice. Do you check it on your phone?
I'm going to point it. Yeah.
How long has that security camera been there?
About 3 days. So probably fine.
Okay, I'm okay.
What you did out in front of the house, no one saw that but me.
I like to sleep on your lawn.
Yeah. It's hot stuff.
I still do that kind of stuff. Like every day before I leave the house, I'm the last one to leave. Cheryl leaves, Christine leaves, and then Greg leaves, and I'm usually the last one out. I'll still walk into the kitchen, make sure everything's unplugged.
Yeah, you unplug it if it isn't.
Yeah.
God forbid I leave a toaster oven in my coffee maker.
My toaster oven almost burned my house down, so that's
But it wasn't left on.
No, that's the scary part. Is it wasn't on, but I came home and it was just so it beeps when it goes like beep beep. You know, I walked in the door and it was just going beep. I'm like, what is that? Toaster oven. And it unplugged, goes beep. And I just now.
Wait, so it was just making noise.
But you know,
it wasn't like smoking.
Yeah, who the fuck knows what was going on?
My favorite.
It could have been seconds away from bursting into
flame. My favorite
flame.
is that Colin unplugs everything from the walls, including the Wii U gamepad. So on the rare occasion I want to turn that mother effer on, it's dead. I'm like,
I'm doing you a huge favor.
Saving you from yourself on that.
Colin doesn't do that because he's OCD. Colin does that because he doesn't want to pay the power bill. That all those little.
That's the other thing. When Scott Bromley lived here with me, I was so frugal about the power bill, like reducing the power bill, that we got 2 months free power paid for by PG&E because we reduced it. The prerequisite percentage month over month over month or something like that, where they were like, your shit's paid for. Like, you have $150 credit or something like that.
That's
like,
amazing.
Yeah.
I love
now
that.
We're like going through crazy. Everyone's leaving goddamn lights on everywhere.
No one's leaving it.
Look at this thing. That thing draws. That's
I wonder what it really is, probably.
I can just reach out, turn this off. If you think it's too much.
Yeah, we don't need
dark.
Zip.
But
do the rest of the
but I also obsessively check the stove and the oven before I leave. No one knows this because I'm the only one at home when this happens. But I go to like we have a gas stove.
Is that why you leave late after everyone else? So you can do this?
Go through.
No, because I would prefer not to be the last one out because then it's not my fault. You see, that's the way I rationalize.
You're just trying to avoid the blame.
Yeah, exactly right.
Pull that little like crispy wiener dog out of the fire. They're like, "Who did this?" You're like, "Not me. I washed my hands."
It was Greg's fucking dumbass leaving the host.
The Wii U gamepad.
And then so like it all says off, and I'll go like off. And then I'll like lock there. Sometimes I come back in and check it again. But I always like shake the door when I lock it.
Yeah.
And it's just like certain things. My girlfriend makes fun of me. She knows my whole routine, so she'll be like, stop it.
Yeah.
Just walk away. Just walk like when we're leaving the house. She's like, don't check it.
Right.
I'm like, all right, but that doesn't help me. That just builds my anxiety.
Right. Yeah.
So how scared were you when literally the first week Mike Mitchell and I lived in this house? We both came home drunk, put a pizza in the oven, and passed out. And I woke up in the morning and I was like, what? Oh no. And I ran over, the oven was off, and there's just a charred disc in there. And I'm like, Mike, did you turn off the oven? He's like, no, we're all hungover as shit. I'm like, oh, we're the worst people ever. Were you terrified you're going to burn the house down in a month?
I don't know. There must be some mechanism that shuts it off. I don't know. I didn't.
Oh, you didn't do it?
No, I don't remember. I mean,
it was a ghost.
I'm often drunk.
Our landlord came down.
Oh, did he?
No, I'm saying our landlord came down and turned off
I was
the
going to
oven.
say we owe him money. We should probably go pay him soon, too.
Okay, we'll finish this podcast.
I have two OCD things that I still do to this day. I always have to check my door to make sure it's locked. Like
I jiggle handles a lot.
I have to keep the keys in my hand with the key. And that's the thing that reminds me as I leave the door. I'm like, oh, wait. If I have the key in my hand, that means I locked the door. Because otherwise I'll go back 3-4 times, which is the weirdest thing. I don't know why I do it. I know I locked it. But sometimes it's because I go back, and as I go back, I start daydreaming about stuff. And then I find myself I'm on my stairs again. I'm like, did I even lock it? Or did I just walk up to the door, try the handle, and then it doesn't matter? And I'm also really weird about parking. Like, I cannot keep my car parked unless it's like 6 inches away from the curb. If it's any farther than that, I will continue to repark it. And in San Francisco, by the way, this is a pain in the ass. This is not like parking at a Costco.
Yeah.
My wife has now learned she gets out of the car and just keeps walking. Like wherever we're going to go, she's just like, I'll see you there because this could take 1 minute or it could take 15.
That she would help you get closer to the curb.
She
and make
tried
sure
it
you're
first.
not hitting it too much.
Yeah, I had to park like perfectly in between. Like, if there's 2 driveways, I have to be equidistant between like each driveway. It's a whole thing. She's washed her hands of it. She doesn't want anything to do with me. She won't even get in the car most of the time unless I'm like taking her someplace. It's trippy. So
let me just ask. What the question, Greg, was OCD or just self-diagnosis?
What is one of these goofy diagnoses you've just given yourself? You've never actually tested. I always talk about I'm hard of hearing and I can't smell.
You are hard of hearing.
Well, it's true, but it's just like one of those things. Like, how hard of hearing am I? I don't know.
Pretty hard of hearing.
Let me know if Colin ever does anything by my head.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I feel like it goes both ways. Like, you're kind of crazy about that kind of stuff when you're younger. You think you're sick, or everyone has those kind of things. You're gonna die, or whatever, about some illness, some virus or disease that you've contracted. But then it went the other way for me after college. Like I developed, as you guys know, like I had a small bump on my nose, and I was like, I don't want to be vain. I was like, I'm not gonna be vain. It's just what God gave me. And I was like, I'm not gonna worry about it. I was there for a couple of years, and then finally went to the doctor and had it checked out. And they're like, oh no, that's skin cancer. So I was like, oh, that's good. Yeah. So it went the exact other way, where I was like, I wasn't diagnosing myself with anything. I was like, there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Even when they cut it off, they're like, oh, we're just gonna send it to the lab. It'll be fine. No big deal. Here's the way. And then they call me like, oh no, that's kind of serious. You got to come back in. We got to cut your nose open. So I wish I did self-diagnose myself at that point. Of course. I'm gonna get a little perverted here, but when you first start having sex, when you're younger, you self-diagnoose yourself.
Can't wait. Yeah, very excited. I've heard so much about it.
I don't know about you guys, but I would self-diagnose myself, like, being totally protected, safe.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd be like, oh man, now I'm fucking gonna die. I got this girl gave me this totally clean, nice girl gave me something, and I'm gonna die. Now I
have a friend that's just that used to do that to the extreme, where it was he would have the biggest hang up about that. Like he would never go all the way with a girl, all the way up to like our mid-20s, and I was like, what? Why don't you want to do this? And he's like, because it wasn't even that he was afraid he was going to get anything. He's like, that's not what I'm afraid of. What I'm afraid of is that afterward, I always think that I got something with no cause whatsoever.
Sure.
And I'll just lament about it for like the next 6 months until I get to town.
You wait for some anything.
Anything. He's like, I'm constantly thinking like, oh my God, I got this thing.
I got it.
And I'm like, but you're going to know within a few days. And he's like, no. I've researched this. And he's like, you got to get tested like a month and then 6 months out and then a year out because you got to make sure you're clear for everything. And sometimes it doesn't show up until like a year out. Yeah. And I'm like, but that's just too much to think about. Like,
it's just worth it.
I'm like, be as safe as you possibly can and then enjoy. If you can't enjoy, then, join a monastery.
Well, that's why he wasn't partaking, because he couldn't enjoy.
True story. Not. He finally went all the way with somebody and got AIDS, dead.
Damn.
Woo! That's the GameOverGreggy show.
That TLC
Thanks
song
for watching.
was about him.
I was gonna say it was a collab of Waterfall and Alanis Morissette, Ironic.
Yeah.
What there was the Boston song in the 90s was about this.
The impression.
The impression that I get, it was about the fear of getting like AIDS or.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Or like obsessing over the thought about it.
That happens to everybody, right? Like that's what when I became sexually active, like a nuclear warhead, that was always the concern, right?
Like a nuclear warhead. Yeah. Oh God, it's gonna go off.
I'm like, soon. I'm gonna get horrible disease. Something's gonna happen. Blah blah blah.
I mean, just they just were shocking you into it. That was the thing through the 80s and all that stuff. And just like there was, I'm probably a little older than most of you guys, or all you guys. There was the just say no stuff, and then just like, dude, don't have sex. You're going to get AIDS.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do not even get near drugs. They will kill you.
Here's a photo of a totally disgusting penis that's like just destroyed with some STD.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the worst.
This is your penis on syphilis.
Yeah.
The worst is sizzling in a pan. You're like, this is a weird commercial.
Can I go back to dinosaurs?
They tell you this, and it's really good advice. If you think you have any sort of disease, whether it be a sexually transmitted disease or just the normal run-of-the-mill diseases that might kill you, don't Google it.
Oh,
do not Google it.
Yeah, self-diagnosing on WebMD is the worst.
Go to your
doctor.
I got
a fever? Wait, I got a fucking fever?
Yeah,
it's a little red.
Oh my god, things that have fevers. The common cold.
Yeah, it's like
the Ebola virus.
Right.
It's the worst.
Shit, it's got to be that second one. It's the one from Outbreak.
I really believe that the internet's made a lot of things better. I think that the internet's made that worse.
Sure.
Way worse. Although having said that, you guys know I have this problems with doctors, right? Where I don't think they pay enough attention to you. I don't think they care about you. I think every time you go in there, the other day I went in to have my shoulder checked out, and he's a very nice doctor, but he's one of those doctors that's like training people. So he spent more time talking to them about me than me about what was wrong with my shoulder. And I had just gone through this terrible thing where I had to get a couple MRIs, and like I'm super claustrophobic, and I was super proud of myself for finally going through with the MRI because I was like able to center myself with some kung fu stuff. It was amazing. That's old school. No, I was able to actually get through it. And I was like, Doc, I did this thing, and now we're going to finally figure out what's wrong with my shoulder. And he was in and out in 30 seconds. And I'm like, is that what they do? Like, do they just leave, Google it, come back, and be like, it's probably just this, and then they go on to the next patient and then drive their Porsche home to their golf car's house?
It all comes down to what I think the doctor you have and what they're doing, right?
Like every doctor though. Like I've
had a lot of good ones.
I lost a lot of faith in doctors. My dad spent about a year in the hospital, and at one point, basically, they were just like, well, with some of this stuff, there's something to be said about quality of life. You might just want to go home. I was like, what the fuck are you like? And just let it ride out until the end. I mean, he has made it home and all that stuff since, and but it was like that moment of just like, dude, this isn't no one has this has not been made to sound this serious. So like him recovering from that and kind of making it out, and just some of the other stuff that happened to him.
I mean, I had a lucky run when I got sick. Yeah, like that. I had good doctors. Now I was the same thing as Colin, right? Like I went in there and I had these bumps on my neck forever, and I was like, whatever, and they'll go away. There's just a lymph node, and you go in there and it's like, yeah, I have this, and like, oh, and then, like when he felt him and his eyes lit up, I was like, oh fuck, this isn't like. I thought for sure you come in and like, oh,
I've got mumps simplex too.
Don't worry about this. Get out of here. You know what I mean? You always expect that, right? I was afraid I was wasting their time, and then they come in like flipped out. I was like, oh, okay.
See, I'm the opposite. Where I'm like, oh god, this is gonna be something super serious, and then I never really know. Like I still don't know what's going on with my shoulder. No idea. The guy's like, I guess we can do some cortisone shots, and I was like, isn't that what quarterbacks get in their shoulders? Like what do I do that's on the level of a freaking quarterback?
You carry the show.
Just the zebras. And
the chirons.
And you make the chirons.
I gotta have the peak values set.
The peak values are essential to this podcast.
That's true. No, I don't know. I have one. My primary care physician is awesome. But when you go to the specialist, I really just don't think that it's a crapshoot what you're gonna get.
My cancer specialist is awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, it's like my thing's clearly not life threatening. So why do they give a shit?
Your arm falls off as we talk.
It's like no one's gonna get sued because at the end of the day, my arm just hurts.
Yeah, like I just need to go get checked out. It's been a while since I've been to a doctor.
I'll give you a physical.
Yeah. All right, cool. I'm really good at turning my head and coughing.
Widen out the camera, everybody here.
I'll just lay out on the table and just go, take me.
We have the paper. We just have the paper. We put it over the table.
Yeah.
I hate the paper. Am I the only one that hates the paper?
Stupid.
Why do they still have the paper?
It's super gross.
I hate when they pull the paper on the bed and they're like, oh, sit on the bed. And I'm like, I don't want to because I'm going to ruin the paper.
Yeah, the paper
just
so
seems like a waste. And you got to throw it away.
There's always that dark secret of just like, if you're stripped down, you're like, you don't want me to sit on the paper because I might leave something behind.
Yeah.
It's been a rough day back then.
I've been at the convention all day. I got leaky butt.
Yeah, no.
You went right to it.
You're
right between the lines on that.
Last time I went to a doctor, they were just like, your cholesterol's really good. And all this other stuff, like, you're doing all right. Like, the asthma's a real bummer. And making it harder for you to lose weight, but like, yeah, you're fine. So I've been riding that for a good.
See, and that's the thing. Like when I go in there and like they do the blood test and they do the blood pressure on me because I have to get these checkups all the time. I'm always waiting for it.
Yeah.
Like, do you eat chicken wings every other day? It's
like, what? No.
So they're always like, oh, your pressure's such over such. I'm like, is that good? Like, oh, it's real good. I'm like, oh, right.
I'm always worried they're going to start pumping up the blood pressure thing. It just says Burger King here. What is that?
It's just a scale. It hits the king. You're like, right on.
Yeah.
The last time I went to the doctor was for when they diagnosed me with celiac disease, which I later ended up being false.
A misdiagnosis. How did you find out that was false?
He went to a doctor. I had blood tests. I got them back at E3. And it was in 2010, right? 2011, something like that.
Yeah. This is one of the best Colin stories of all time when you realize what a crackpot he was, because he was waiting for these test results forever. They called you right just as we got on the plane. Yeah. So Colin is, I'll be Colin in this scenario for viewers watching at home. Colin's me. I'm on the window. He's in the middle seat, and literally the phone rings as the plane starts to taxi to take off. And Colin is talking on the phone, and then the lady comes by. She's like, "You have to get off the phone, sir. We're taxiing." I'm like, "All right." And then he just buries his head into my chest to keep talking. And the lady comes by. She's like, "We will stop the plane." He's like, "I'm getting test results. I'm getting test results."
And then I went. I didn't know what celiac disease was. I got to E3, and then we got into the war room, and I Googled it. Then I read about it. Then I cried. I started crying.
No bagels, no pizza, no beer.
And and I'm an Italian, New York man, and it was really hard for me to bear that I couldn't eat semolina anymore or anything like that. Yeah. So then I just accepted it. They were like, "You should really get an endoscopy because that's the gold standard." Like that. Well, your blood tests indicate you have it. You probably shouldn't get your hopes up, but
you should do it for sure. You should just know.
Yeah. So then I just went about 2.5 years, just assuming that I had it. Going gluten-free for like a week at a time, being like, I can't do it. And then like eating it, feeling guilty,
paying
and terrible.
$35 for a
gluten-free pizza from Patchy's like once a week. Then in last November, I finally was like, let's just do it, because I have like really bad stomach, and they were like, they put me under, and I was talking to the doctor. I was going under, and I was like, I hope you guys don't find anything. He's like, don't count on it. That was the last thing he said to me. And then I zonked out. I woke up. He's like, all right, so we'll have.
It's a horrible thing to say to someone.
He's like, we took the samples from your stomach. He's like, there's no visual evidence that anything's wrong, but we're going to send the samples back. You have multiple ulcers. He's like, I'm like, I'm a total warrior wart, so like, I'm totally paranoid. So
do you walk around unplugging toaster ovens and Wii U gamepads?
and then we went, and then my girlfriend and I went to Tahoe for vacation, and he called me there, and he's like, so turns out you don't have. You don't have celiac disease. I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, we are. This is 100% sure that you do not have celiac disease. I'm like, he's like, your blood tests say you do, but this says you don't. So,
go nuts.
Yeah, he's like, well, we still want to treat you. You should come back in so we can talk, and we still want to treat you like you are celiac, so you should have a gluten-free diet. I'm like, nah, I don't think so. And then
threw your phone in the Tahoe River.
Yeah, and I was like, and then I just never. I was so mad at them.
Stuck the phone into a sandwich.
I was so, and I got off the phone with my girlfriend. Like, I was like, thought I was in denial about it, and I told her, I'm like, they told me I didn't have it. Like, she's like, you're a fucking liar, because she's the doc. She's a forensic psychologist, so she's like, they diagnosed you with this, like you have it. And I'm like, no, I really don't have it. The only thing they said to me was like, your blood test came back and you have really low vitamin D, and they're like, that just means you don't get a lot of sunlight. This is San Francisco. And I'm like, yeah, that's the reason. Maybe it's because I don't fucking leave my house. And that was
I'm so depressed because I have celiac disease.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was my celiac adventure.
We worked in a basement for several years, and there was some vitamin D deficiencies on staff for a little bit there.
Y'all got rickets?
We're getting real close. If it wasn't that, it was gonna be scurvy or something.
Whatever. You don't want to get scurvy.
No. Nobody does.
That's the pirate disease.
Yeah.